I've been a significant... Sorry.
This is going to be a tale of incompetence and vindictiveness, and it's about, of course, Kathleen Kennedy. Now, incompetence because she's weak, she's ignorant, and she is lazy. She doesn't want to do her job. Vindictiveness because when she sees other people doing the job she should be doing competently, she goes in to undermine what they're doing and threatens them. And this is a tale of that. So let's begin with incompetence. Now, everybody knew the five horsemen when they rode into town in San Francisco, knew they were going to find a dumpster fire. But I honestly, I think they probably weren't prepared for the dumpster fire of incompetence, hooliganism, and disrespect that was going on at Lucasfilm behind Disney's back. And disrespect because the people up there were abusing company credit cards. Hooliganism because it basically was run like a frat house. Incompetence because the people were not making correct decisions for any of the franchises that they were shepherding, okay? And the person who was the lead pin of this, who allowed this stuff to happen, was Kathleen Kennedy. Okay, this is about the incompetence part. I'm pretty sure when the Witch King of Burbank realized just how truly, amazingly dim-witted and incompetent this woman was, he probably had to have a stiff scotch or bourbon that evening, because when you look at what they found, the credit card abuse, the rambunctious, immature frat house behavior of Pablo Hidalgo and the rest of the people up there, and the boorish way they looked at their jobs, and he realized Kennedy allowed it to happen, he probably wanted to fire her right there on the spot. And look, this was a division that was diseased because of her. Okay, none of these people need to work there. They're only there because she wanted her loyal minions rather than people who actually cared about their jobs. And everybody who did care about their jobs and doing what was right for Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow kept their mouths shut, heads down, or they left. Now, this is the height of her incompetence. When she was asked about the Filson bag they were using with Indy's costume for Indiana Jones 5, and she was told that it didn't fit the vision that they had for the movie and Indiana Jones in the movie, she said, just go find a bag in a wardrobe and make it filmable. They took this other bag. A Duluth company named Frost River Trading that makes outdoor products like knapsacks, backpacks, etc. made this geologist bag. They used that. Okay. She did not go to ask permission. She did not pay for the use of it. It's basically indiscriminate product placement without acknowledging where the bag came from. Okay. Which you have to, I think, in the credits. And they're getting sued for it. And the problem is that Filson used the bag in ads in on their own website using Indiana Jones pictures with the bag and trying to sell it as their own. They're getting sued too. This is the height of incompetence. Kennedy couldn't be bothered to get the details about who made the bag. This is product placement. We need to get legal in here so they can ask permission to use it and make sure that it's acknowledged in the credits that Frost River made this bag. Didn't care at all. Probably didn't know who made the bag. Probably had no idea it was a different manufacturer. That's incompetence. This is what has been going on with Lucasfilm and Star Wars for a decade. Okay. She could not be bothered to follow up. Okay. This is a lack of attention to detail that a good producer would not have. The fact of the matter is the producers that have made huge impacts on the industry always paid attention to the smallest thread on a costume. She couldn't be bothered to do that. She couldn't be bothered to do something in the manner of Robert Evans. You can't put that in the movie unless you acknowledge the maker, ask them permission, or pay them. Okay? All right? She did not do that. I can't imagine Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola not acknowledging a manufacturer of a piece of outerwear for a character. Because you just don't do that. Again, this is incompetence. She is incompetent. She doesn't care. She's lazy. She couldn't be bothered. And it also goes to show you that when she was asked about it, and that the Filson bag didn't look right, that she wasn't on set to see it for herself. Okay, so that's incompetence.
I can't believe this. You're actually kicking me out?
Do you want me to draw you a picture?
We'd be here all night.
Get out!
I've been basking in it for the last 30 minutes. My God. I feel like a seafront village after the Vikings have left.
Off you go. Bye-bye. Crooked word. Your tongue could open a wine bottle.
I'm an agent. It's not like she worships the devil.
Well, she doesn't have to. He worships her.
The Eye of Sauron, as Jon Favreau so epically called her when they were on the set of Mandalorian Season 2, and he was trying to keep the return of Luke Skywalker on the down low. Vindictiveness is a trademark of women. Okay, we are extremely vindictive, and we're very sneaky about it. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni discovered that hugely, not only the firing of Gina Carano, the announcing they weren't going to bring Gina Carano back, to Kennedy walking out at the latest Star Wars celebration and announcing movies that will never be made, allowing her show, The Acolyte, which is nothing more than a illegally paid for sizzle reel, to be talked about with, somebody who should be a jailbird, Leslie Hadland, striding out there and crying crocodile tears. Okay, she did that vindictively and deliberately to undermine the excitement for Ahsoka, because she knew Ahsoka was going to be huge. And I'm sorry, the guys know how to write women better than, anybody that you've ever hired, Kathleen. So vindictiveness, backstabbing, calculated willingness to undermine your perceived enemy and what they're doing. If you remember Doomcog's rumor, when Kennedy was told the guys were going over the scripts for season, I think, I'm going to say season 2 of The Mandalorian, or no, maybe season 3 of The Mandalorian with George, and she was told by Iger they were doing that. She basically said, this nonsense will end or I will burn it all to the ground. Well, then we got John not being on set of the Book of Boba Fett, so we got the Skittles Bikers Gang, and a show that was made okay. It was a fine story, but the ending was contrived. You could tell in order to save what they'd done, they had to take Mandalorian season 3, 2 shows out of that and put it into Boba Fett. Okay. Which, is par for the course when considering Robert Rodriguez probably had Kennedy's helpers on the set. Then we go to the hiring of Leslie Hadland. Leslie Hadland was hired in direct retaliation to the guys going to George. Okay. And Kennedy knew, while she's incompetent, she also knew perfectly well who Leslie Hadland had worked for, all the secrets Leslie Hadland has, and the fact that the woman basically is the type of fat, disgusting, ugly superwoman Kennedy admires so much. And she wanted this girl to create a Star Wars, femme-centric Star Wars show to undermine the guys and the Mandalorian, okay, and everything else they wanted to do. And it's, we got what was called the Acolyte. Now everybody knows they're being sued for breach of contract and egregious firing by a lady named Karen McCarthy, the questionable fundraising, etc. But let's go to the other vindictive thing. The announcement in Deadline, Gina Carano would not be returning to The Mandalorian and to the Star Wars universe without telling Jon Favreau, without telling the Bobs. Okay, this was vindictiveness. Now we know the meme that Gina put out there, it had nothing to do with anti-Semitism. I mean, when I hear Pablo Hidalgo or his troll doll wife saying Gina's anti-Semitic, it's like, that's not what that meme is about. Yes, those are Jews, but they could be Catholics. They could be Armenians. They could be, any sort of political group that is being shunned and attacked. Okay. They could be people who just don't want to take the COVID vaccine. Okay. That is un-American. But apparently, if you use that particular picture, even if you're not anti-Semitic, you will be called anti-Semitic because people like Kathleen Kennedy know in Hollywood you can use that against anybody because of where the Holocaust sits in many people's minds in Hollywood. Now, I'm not going to say that it's something to be poo-pooed and ignored. It's not. But they trivialize it. Instead of looking at it as a warning to political adventurers out there, and Hollywood does have its share of little Hitlers, little Stalins, Mao's Red Guard running around, serves as a warning to them to stop acting like a bunch of stormtroopers. They used it to attack the person who put the message out, stop victimizing people who disagree with you politically in the United States. That is wrong, and let me explain why I think it's wrong. because my father, my uncles, saw what Hitler did to these people. I have people who saw what Stalin did to the Ukrainians and to the Soviet people. All you have to do is read the Gulag Archipelago, okay? Ayn Rand was very blunt about what the Soviets did to the culture of Russia before she escaped with her parents, her mother, okay? You know, you have group blocks of Armenians here who remember very well the genocide against the Armenian people by the Turkish government, okay? It doesn't matter what group was viciously slaughtered and sent to death camps, okay? If you are part of the bully minority, because usually it actually is, doing that to people who disagree with you politically, you are in the wrong. That's what Gina was trying to say. There's nothing anti-Semitic about it. Yet, Kennedy saw this as an opening, and because she's a vindictive cunt, she ran with it, okay? She ran with it. Okay, so what the horsemen are dealing with is an incompetent, vindictive hag. All right, you don't see guys doing this. Guys don't have any reason to want to do this. Women are passive-aggressive. They will get you under the table. That's exactly what Kennedy has done to Bob Iger when she refused his Viking funeral. That's what she did to John and Dave undermining Ahsoka at Star Wars Celebration. That's what she did to them in basically telling the world they weren't going to bring back Gina Carano. All right, and basically allowing her little flying monkeys like Pablo to abuse Gina any way they could. All right, that's just the truth. So this is what the horsemen have discovered, okay? And the fact that, you know, she isn't going to resign. She should, but, you know, you're dealing with someone who's probably mentally ill, who has a personality disorder, and cannot see past the fact that what she did to the Star Wars franchise and what she's doing to Lucasfilm is tantamount to destruction and evil. This is evil. And that's what the five horsemen are dealing with. That's what Bob Iger and Bob Chapek have had to deal with for 10 years. This conniving, backstabbing, incompetent hag. This is Steph, signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.